Today I introduced the purely vanilla AFK Item Duplicator for Minecraft versions 1.14.4 and below. Now I know it's a little late since 1.15 came out recently, but I tried my best. Please watch this video in its entirety if you want this machine to function normally, because there's a lot to know about this. It consists of 8 duplication modules which could possibly be expanded and be used manually, and a decoder to make it automatic. A single module can produce almost 3,000 items in a single duplication cycle, which takes a little over an hour. Or if you use full shulker boxes, you can get almost 2 million items in 1 hour. Times all that by 8 if you want the most out of a chunk. Simply put, the duplication glitch works by editing a chunk, reload to save it, then you take the items from it. Overload the file size of the chunk using these blocks. The bottom chest looks like this, and the top chest is slightly different like this, with these being called the B books, and this is the C book that triggers the overload. I'll link a video that better explains the concept and how to make these books in the description. Then you reload the chunk so that it reverts back to its old state. This old state is before you took the items, so now you can do it again. This machine does all that for you, so you could leave it running overnight or while you're taking a break. I'll show you how to build it towards the end of the video. However, in 1.15 and above, the game changed the way chunks are stored, which ultimately breaks this glitch which worked since the first releases of Minecraft. To get started, you need to know some important details before building. It may be difficult to get it to work. It's only AFK on multiplayer, but the glitch still applies in single player, so if you want to play with this on your own, you should make a simple localhost server. The world must be a generic Minecraft world, which is just vanilla Minecraft or modded Forge. But it cannot be Spigot, Bucket, Bungee Cord or anything of the sort. It will also not work if you build this less than 200 blocks from the spawn chunks. There may also be places in your world where it may not duplicate, so test it with the basic setup first before you start building. In 1.12 and possibly below, I haven't tested it in earlier versions, you will need 5 B-books, but in 1.13 and 1.14 you will need 4 B-books, although it could be different. Try a different number of B-books if it still doesn't work. Then, to reload the chunk completely, you can relog, but that's not AFK. So walk at least 150 blocks away, but on average you may have to walk 200 blocks, or even 250 before the chunk reloads. This will be the length of your rail. If you have to go any further than 300 blocks, then that spot is the least efficient for the AFK duplicator, so find another spot. Once you've figured out what is required, you may start building. But you can't just build it anywhere. The bottom chest must be in a different chunk to the top chest. This world shows all the positions required, which is up for download and is ready for duplication, so you can experiment for yourself. You could also download the .nbt schematics for use with structure blocks and for the Schematica or Lightmatica mod. This structure is called auto chest. Be careful if you're using a structure block in 1.12, loading may complicate some components. So to fix it, make sure this observer here is facing upwards so that block retracted. Then come around here and make sure this observer faces downwards, get rid of that red and block retracts, and then get another observer and then reset them into this default position. And make sure this observer here is right there. Then you load the decoder 16 blocks away from the middle chunk and set it to its initial state. Wire everything up, including the rail system, which I'll show you how to do later this video, and finally you should debug it. This part is important before you leave it running on its own. If you're in versions 1.13 and 1.14, try not to open the top chest or the duplication might not work, but do so if you must check something. Make sure you have enough C books in this dropper, but not too much which could break the chunk it's in. Quickly put items into the top chest so that there are more than 5 items. Then go into the tripwire to activate the right lamp. Once the powered rail activates, carefully exit and leave the world. Wait briefly to log in. This will now be referred to as a reload since you're reloading the chunk. Then go back into the tripwire, which will activate the next step. Wait until the rail activates again. Log out and wait a bit, then log in. On the third tripwire activation, the duplicated items will return to the top chest, so check if that has happened after both lamps are off. And there we go. I'll now show you everything that can break and how to reset it once I break it on purpose. First, make sure this observer here is in this position, and that this block of redstone is in its retracted position, which turns off that piece of redstone. Now I'll ignore this part because we'll focus on this part first. Now first, make sure these observers are in their default position here. Come around here and get rid of this block of redstone so it didn't mess anything up, and remove all the items from it. It'll trigger everything, which you could put the redstone block back. And over here, make sure this observer is in its default position again, so that this block retracts. Oh, and that actually triggered this observer, so make sure that it's like this. Make sure there's nothing in these chests. It should be completely empty. And that observer here should be in this position. Now, if you have any other modules connected, you should fix those as well. Please comment down below or visit my Discord server if you have any trouble, and I'll do my best to solve your issue. Before I show you how to build this for yourself, I want to tell you more about the long project that this has been, as it's also my first large-scale redstone project, aside from my one commands. It all first started when I learnt about this glitch earlier this year. Then I thought if it could be automated because of how it worked. I tried various ways of moving items between chunks, but I settled on this design. I settled on this thick abomination with 4 inputs and an output in about a month, and I have no idea how it works. After better versions, I made a decoder that had to follow these instructions, and was roughly the same size as the duplication module. I also made it tileable and made this whole setup work, only without the AFK part. Then I realized that you don't need a middle chest, so I simplified the design to the first iteration of what you saw in this video. I got it to work just after the release of version 1.14 and built it on my friend's Minecraft server. However, it wasn't perfect and I didn't have a decoder made, so it wasn't automatic. So since then I changed the design to fit the decoder while also studying for my finals, which were happening in less than a month. This here is all you will need for the duplicator module. Considering how the rest of the 19 minutes of this video is for building, I will only occasionally speak if something important comes up. As you're starting to build, find the right location in the chunk where this module will go. For now, this is how you build the duplicator module. don't really need this block furthest from the module and this redstone here, so you can remove them. Right now, I'm going to add the output to let the rail system know that the duplicator had finished one of its phases, so that it could send you off to reload the chunk. This is only necessary for just one module if you're going to add more. However, these few pieces of redstone dust need to be a part of every module. These slabs right here have a reason, so make sure they're there. And that there is how to build a duplicator module. The resources listed here are for the encoder and for wiring it. The quartz here represents the wiring, whereas the stone bricks represent the duplicator and the decoder. You should remove the redstone block before placing anything in front of the observer. Be sure to place the redstone dust before you place the observer. This is the part where the books go, so make sure the dropper is in a different chunk to the two chests. And don't forget to power it with redstone dust. I forgot to place some here. This repeater here should be adjacent to the chunk, and that pretty much does it for the decoder. And finally, these are all the resources you need for the automation. Make sure you use slabs to not power those pistons. This repeater should have the longest delay. So far that's all the wiring, however the rail line is directional. Normally this rail should curve towards the short path because my rail line is facing west. However, if you built it so that it faced east, you need to slightly change the circuit. These extra resources aren't listed at the start of the section. Now that I've added this, the rail is turning the wrong way, but I've already built the rail to face west. I won't be showing you how to build the rest of the rail, that should be pretty much straightforward. However, I'll show you what you need to build at the end of the rail. That is essentially everything you need to know about this AFK duplicator and how to build it. As you've made it this far into the video, I congratulate you. It took me a really long time to put all this together and make this for you, so I'll really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed for more videos like this in the near future. So I'll see you next time.